point, do you think adults will start making space for kids to understand what anxiety and depression is in the classroom and be taught that?
I don't know what that necessarily looks like
For now.
right now.
Yeah.
I think what schools can start to do is like look at school communities from like within smaller communities, if that makes sense. And so for us, like, yes, we are a middle school. I serve a middle school, but within that middle school, we have grade levels. And so like creating communities within those grade levels, I think is important, and supplying them with like providing like a counselor who can support students just on that grade level, providing, behavior support for that grade level, providing an assistant principal for that grade level creates a community of support systems and like preventative support systems where like students know they can go here or here in order to get what they need instead of having to compete with one person or group of people that serves the whole community. Like you have specific people that you can go to like have those conversations and feel comfortable like being completely authentic in those spaces without feeling like you're just another number.
Yeah.
And I think that's a start to get to that point.
So, that's where I chime in on things.
Okay.
Can you see DC implementing all teachers should take at least one counseling class coming in? Because teachers aren't meant to be counselors, but they're also not meant to be parents. But in our conversation, we realize the difference between a teacher and a parent is just the title. And it's a lot of responsibility on the establishment, but the kids can't implement what the adults can for now. They are here to learn from us. So, for example, I didn't choose to be an advocate. I was already a mental health advocate from my previous relationship starting in 2012 when she continuously taught me about what depression and anxiety look like, what it did to her dealing with that. And then when she passed away in 2018, I became an advocate from that experience.
Yeah.
But it didn't just stop with what she taught me. I reached out to other professionals.
Yeah.
In terms of counselors, I reached out to other professionals in terms of wellness folks. And then I started publicly implementing things from 2019 to present.
Yeah.
So the work always starts with us.
It does. And I think that's a very sensitive topic.
Yeah.
To tackle within a professional setting. And like even with your personal experience, like there was something that happened that intrinsically motivated you to say, yep, I need to become an advocate for mental health because of a personal experience. And that's a decision you made as an individual. And I think for educators or just for people in general, depending on where they are in their walk, like they're not ready to take that step.
Yeah.
And I think when you create a space where they're forced to do that, it takes the authenticity away from that work and actually making the change that needs to happen. Because like all, organizations and institutions are always implementing practices that they think are good for the general welfare of people. But like, if people aren't invested in that practice, then it's not going to be good work.
Yeah.
Which is why you have evaluative systems to make sure that people are implementing something the way it's supposed to be implemented. So like, I think there are ways in which you can say like, hey, as a school district, as a school, like this is what we're committed to doing from a mental health perspective. Yeah. But I think part of that is also like creating opportunities for people to like unpack the adaptive work behind why certain things are important. And so like you can do tactical things all day, but if there's not this adaptive like approach to the work and why you're doing this work, I don't think it's going to make the change that it needs to make.
Yeah.
In any institution.
Yeah. But even with that being said, the ability of having the tools versus not having the tools when you're faced with the moment.
Oh yeah. I think
and that's more what my work is. My work is I'm giving you the just in case tool. kid. Like, that's what this is. This the just in case package. Hey, just in case this happens, here's the information.
Yep.
Because you as a vice principal, you've been asked a lot of questions. And I know a lot has been asked of you. And there has to be a certain point where you look at what's being asked or who's asking this, and you think to yourself, why is this now a question?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you handle those moments as an educator?
I think it goes back to what you're saying. It's like, you got to listen, right? Mm-hmm. And like, the reality is this: people are going to tell you what they want you to hear.
Yes.
And so you have to be very keen to like what they're actually telling you and what they're not telling you.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are situations, and I don't know if I can give like a specific example, but I think, you know, when people are asking for things or advocating on behalf of things, that means they think there's a need somewhere, or they think they've lost something that they feel like they need. And so it's just, I think it's important to just listen to figure out, like, what are they actually asking me? And what is it that they're not saying that they're also still asking me? And how can I provide this actual, whatever the ask is? So I think part of that is just, you know, listening, processing, and recognizing what's actually within your locus of control in that very moment, and what's not. You know, I think a lot of times we hear things and, you know, we think to ourselves, oh my gosh, I got to do this, this, and that. But like, some of this work, like, is not really in your locus of control. And like, you're creating anxiety, you're creating, you know, situations that like you don't have any power over. But like, there are things that you can actually take from this conversation, or take from whatever is being asked and actually implement it on a very like effective scale, if that makes sense.
Do teachers know how to learn after becoming teachers?
Yeah, you just got to create the space for that to happen. I think it can happen. And if you want to be a good educator, you know, an effective educator, then you've got to be a lifelong learner. And you have to recognize that, like, you don't know everything, right? There are always things to learn, you know, and you're not the one person that can provide knowledge. Like, that comes from families, that comes from your peers, that comes from the students in which you serve. Like, I think one of the biggest myths is that you can't learn anything from kids because they're young. And so, like, I think if anybody that you want to listen to, you got to listen to the kids. Because, like, although they don't have as much experience, everything that they say, good or bad, is coming from a place of authenticity. And they're very honest people.
I think one of the best life lessons I ever heard came from a kid. My friend Jasmine, she's actually the first interview for If You Build It that has to do with yoga. It's on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
Someone from wellness that I probably want to connect with you at some point in the future. She told me that she was talking to one of her friends, one of the kids that she takes care of, and she was like, you know, how are your friendships going? And he was like, you know, I don't think I have space for a friendship right now. Because he was like drawing a ship. And she was like, well, what's that? He's like, well, I'm drawing a boat. I have a friend boat. It's much smaller. I don't really have space for a friendship right now. But I think boats are fine. So right now it's me on a boat figuring things out. And when I heard that, I was like, man, he is far ahead of a lot of people.
Yes. That was a nice analogy.
How old is this kid?
Right.
I was like, oh man, we probably learned that lesson like 25.
Gotta be, right? Yeah.